Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Marianne. I live here in Canada with my husband and two kids ages 6 and 7. And this is my first time ever saying 6 and 7 because our youngest just turned 6 this morning. So it's a super exciting day here in our house. And also I'm sharing something today on YouTube that I've never talked about before. I've never really gone into this topic or category ever with any of my content, really. We are talking about digital clutter, and specifically we're talking about photos on our phones. Ironically, I just had to pause the video because my memory card in my camera was just full and I had to delete some stuff. So isn't that kind of fitting? Anywho, so yeah, ever since I shared this category as a great one to do like pre-spring, pre-vacation season, and I just haven't kind of stopped thinking about it since I shared it. And I'm like, I know it's something I need to deal with and I know how good it feels once it's done. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna set the timer for myself and I am going to declutter my own photos right now, like in real time with you guys. And then I'm going to share some tips that have worked for me and how many photos I got rid of and like how I kind of went about it. So right now I have 4,641 photos. I don't know if that's like a lot compared to other people or not a lot. In my defense, I use a lot for work, obviously, for like before and after photos for spaces that we've worked on. However, I feel like I could get rid of a lot of those and thin a lot of those out now. I'm gonna start with 30 minutes and see how far I get. I'm gonna share with you once I'm finished how many photos I got rid of and like tips for how I deal with that on a normal basis and different categories of photos that I find like the easiest to get rid of to make the process less daunting and less overwhelming. Okay, enough stalling. I am getting at it. Wish me luck. Okay, so I'm done. That was a lot. I find that more tiring than like physical clutter. Maybe it's because it's hard on the eyes. I have no idea. So I did, at 30 minutes, I felt like I definitely wasn't ready to finish. So I set the timer again and I went for almost an hour. So around 55 minutes, I was like, okay, like I need to step away from this. I need a break from it. Oh, I will see. Let's see how many I got rid of. So what did I say? I had 4,600 or something. So in my deleted, I have 559 photos in my deleted. So I got rid of like 550, 560 photos, which actually I thought was gonna be more than that I got rid of. I did all of like this current year, which is just a few months. And then I did all of last year. I thought for sure as I'm doing it, I'm like, this is gonna be like at least 1,000 photos. So, but still 550 I think is still really good. I still like definitely feel lighter. Categories of photos that I got rid of definitely were like doubles or close to doubles. So it's like, say it was like a picture of the kids and it was like we were at the beach and there was 2 photos of them and they weren't exactly identical, but almost. Like I only need to keep one of those photos. Screenshots was huge for me. Now I only have 9 screenshots, which I feel good about. I had over 30 when I started. In the midst of doing it, I went and actually grabbed my agenda because there's a few things that were like I needed to do action items on. Like I do a lot of screenshotting of recipes, podcasts to listen to, and books to read. That's like a huge 3 big categories. Or say like it's a product I want to try for work or something. I'll just take a quick screenshot because I don't have maybe time in that moment to research it, but I want to go back and like look into it. So there were a bunch there that either it was like, okay, I want to write this book down because I actually want to request it today through the library on their website. Or it's like, you know what, I'm actually not interested in that book. I'm going to delete it. Or that podcast. Like if I really cared about listening to that podcast, I would have listened to it by now. So another one for me was ones that I've definitely just taken like for social media. You know how we'll like take a shot of like our coffee that day or at the library or like just basically stuff that you're like doing during the day. It's not necessarily a memory that I would ever like I necessarily need to save. It was more just like for a purpose in that moment. Then I can easily let that go. One of the big questions I asked myself with this photo, would I print it, put it in a scrapbook, or ever post it again on social media. And if the answer is no to all three of those, I know I can probably let it go. Like if I don't love the photo enough to put it in a scrapbook or to print it off, that I know that I probably don't love it enough, and or I probably have more other photos that I love way more. For example, I had a ton of photos of the kids asleep in the car because they both fall asleep a ton. Like if we've done like a big activity that day, they almost both always fall asleep still. And in the moment I'm like, oh, it's so cute. Like take a photo of it, which it is cute. I don't need one of those per month for the first, 5 years of their life. Like that's a bit of overkill for me. So those are some easy ones, easy decision, easy like question to ask myself when I'm deciding what to let go of. My normal routine for getting rid of photos is daily, when I run out of space, or yearly. So daily, it's like every single day. Like just this morning, I took a bunch of pictures of the kids because it's Annie Rose's birthday. So I'm like, before she has her little birthday pin on, I'm like, post with your brother, take a picture of you before you leave for school. And so I definitely wanted to keep those ones, but let's say I took 12, I kept 2. So there's one of her alone and one with Leo. And that is plenty. If I'm like, no, I'm taking a photo shoot for work, I go through that evening, or like maybe it's the next day, and I go through and I'm like, okay, like I took 3 of this tea drawer. I don't need to have 3 of this one tea drawer. I can delete 2 and just keep the best. And then in terms of doing it annually, that's when I go and do my scrapbook, which I do every single year. We do ours through Shutterfly. First of all, I love having them. I love having them to go back and look at and having the kids look at. But I also feel like it's such a great exercise to minimize your photos even more. And the motivator is that the more pages you have in your scrapbook, it gets way more expensive. So what I try to generally do is like 1 page. So this I just called winter, and it's just probably like January, February combined. March is Annie Rose's birthday. I try to keep it at like 20, maximum 20 pages, I think. It helps me prioritize which photos I love the most so that I know which ones I can let go of, because if I'm not gonna put them on here, I probably don't care that much about them. And with our scrapbook, I use Shutterfly just because that's what I've always used and I'm used to it. There's probably a ton of options out there. However, I will say that I always have done it. Like I've been doing this even since before the kids were born. This is 2014. I originally always did it on my desktop or like on my laptop, which because this was like back before apps were like very common. Just last year, I think was the first time I did it through the app, and it was actually pretty easy. Like it was a lot easier than I expected it to be. Just super coincidentally, as I was like prepping for this video this week, one account I follow on Instagram, Candidly Carly, I think. Candid Carly, something like that. I'm gonna share her like account below. She just happened to be sharing a bunch of stuff about digital clutter and deleting photos. And one thing she does is she actually puts in her notes on her phone, which she had it by year, and then she like categorized it by month. So she listed all the months, so January, February, March of the entire year. And then every time she got through, she would declutter like 1 month at a time. And every time she decluttered a month and finished, she would check it off so that she could kind of track and remember where she was at. So instead of kind of going at it more haphazardly, she's actually like being strategic about it and mindful about it, which makes it like a little bit less overwhelming, a little bit like less daunting when you're looking at, 4,000 or 5,000 photos at once. And she's really hilarious too, as a random side note. And a small little point I wanted to make just to give you like a little bit of kind of reference for how many photos to keep. I lost my dad. It'll be 6 years this September, and my dad and I were super close. I grew up with him. It was just the 2 of us during all of my high school years and beyond. I have on my phone, I have probably 3 photos of him, I think, and 1 video. Like maybe 4 photos, but like very, very few of actual physical photos in my keepsake bin of my dad and I. I'm grateful for the few photos I do have. However, I have never once felt like I didn't have enough photos of him. And I only have a handful. But I know from experience, and I almost feel kind of lucky to have known this, that I've lost like one of my main people. He was like one of my person for a long time. So as much as I appreciate and love having those couple of photos and few photos I do of him, I'm very grateful for those. Really, it's like his memory is within me, all of the memories of little things that he did. So I guess what I'm saying is, as much as I love looking back and I love having all these memories of our family and our photos together, and I don't take them lightly, I think they're super important, and I really do cherish all the photos we do have. I really do feel like it's quality over quantity, and you having an amount that actually makes you be able to enjoy them and appreciate them is far, far, far more important than having, you know, hundreds and hundreds of photos. And no matter what strategy you take, no matter like how long you spend on it or how many photos you get rid of, I hope this inspires you to take like a small step towards lightening that load. If you want more content about digital clutter and maybe like working on our email folders or anything like that, let me know below. Let me know what you're interested in, because I would be happy to make any of those videos. As always, thank you so much for being here. Please like this video and subscribe if you're interested in more, and I will see you very soon. Bye guys.